Hey, Zach here. This week's discussion thread topic is something that I'm very interested in. It's something that I have some experience in as well, and it's something that is somewhat of a passion to me. Spirituality has always been a part of my life, and I've experienced spirituality and religion in both negative and positive ways throughout my life. And the subject of spirituality in social work is very intriguing to me as well, and it's something that I have a similar um, experience in. So I'll try to keep this video as short as possible and not drag it out too long. As most of you know, I'm a recovering heroin addict with over 3 years of sobriety, and spirituality is a big part of my recovery, and spirituality is something that has helped me along in my recovery from the very beginning and even over 3 years later to where I am now. When I got out of treatment in 2017, I became an adult peer support specialist, and I worked at a faith-based treatment center. So spirituality was incorporated in my lessons, in my groups, in my AA meetings, and things like that. So I guess it's hard for me to say that I feel comfortable and uncomfortable with one particular story. I can definitely relate to some, and then there's definitely, those that I relate to less. Caroline's story is very similar to mine in the aspects of how that she was raised in a fairly strict religious home. I was not raised Baptist. I was raised in a strict Pentecostal home, and I was very sheltered and kept away from the world, and all of my friends believed the same way as me, and all of my friends went to the Christian school that I went to that was owned by the church. The church is in my family for generations. My uncle is the pastor. My grandparents started the church. So I have deep roots in this particular denomination and religion in this particular church. So I have had some very, very negative experiences with that denomination and with the particular church. And it almost drove me to atheism, especially through my addiction. But as I began to find recovery, I found God for myself, and I formed my own beliefs. And I believe that I am a Christian, but I try to steer away from labels and denominations and modern religion as a whole, but spirituality is a great aspect of my life as well. So I can relate to Caroline's story in a lot of ways. I can also relate to Beth's framework for living, because as I was forming my own beliefs, I began to have similar experiences with that, about not judging people that you don't know and try to walk in their shoes. So I got a lot from Beth's story as well. Um, but spirituality is definitely a big part of my life. But I also have incorporated some of the beliefs and the opinions in Beth's story as well about, yes, spirituality is a big part of my life, but I'm not going to judge others for what they believe or don't believe. I'm not going to force my beliefs onto them either. So the only one that I guess you could say I was uncomfortable with, I wouldn't use that term, but um, I could relate to the least, was definitely the story of John Joseph and the voodoo. Um, I don't have an issue with that. I don't judge anyone for that. However, it's safe to say there is probably a negative stigma around voodoo. People hear voodoo and they probably automatically think of the dark arts or witchcraft and things of that nature. So that was the one that I wouldn't say made me uncomfortable. It just was a little less relatable to me. So how do I feel about including the concept of spirituality into social work? I am all for it. As an adult peer support specialist, I have taught many groups and had many one-on-one discussions with people, and if they follow the Alcoholics Anonymous program or the Narcotics Anonymous program, spirituality and belief in a higher power is a core part of that program, and I believe spirituality has guided me and has helped me throughout my journey of recovery. But there has to be some boundaries. You cannot force your beliefs onto anyone, and we cannot attempt to force someone to believe in religion or spirituality if they do not, or if they do not want to. However, I believe if you talk to your client and have an honest, open discussion with them and see where they're at when it comes to spirituality, if they're willing to allow you to incorporate that in their care, then I think it can be a very beneficial resource and can do a whole lot of good in the end. So that's pretty much it. I really enjoyed this week's discussion, and I can't wait to hear from you guys and hear your thoughts and opinions on everything as well. Thank you.